Hi everyone, welcome to The Healing Heart. My name is Calvin and I have been involved in helping people dealing with breakups, separation and divorce for around 8 years, and I have a Bachelor of Counselling and Psychotherapy. And today I want to talk about harmful platitudes. Yes, I am laying in bed because I've had a very long 12-hour shift at work today, and plus a pretty heavy emotional day today. And that's part of the reason I've started this channel now, is because it's February the 7th, 2018, and I am still healing from my recent basically separation and divorce, if you like, from my wife. And a lot of people who make these channels have been through a breakup or two, perhaps, and have gone on to form these channels to help people, but they have healed long ago. I, I still have a long way to go. So we're going to do this together, okay? And today I want to talk about harmful platitudes. And what I mean by that is when you talk to people about what you're going through, and there's no doubt you will, because if it's as bad as it has been for me, you talk to everybody. You talk to your neighbours, you talk to the people at the bank, you talk to the person serving you at the supermarket. Anyone that'll listen, you talk to it. And one by one, your friends, they if it goes on for a while, they get a bit sick of hearing about it. It's not that they don't care about you, it's just that they don't really know what to say, and they don't like seeing someone that they care about in pain. But the problem with the sayings that they give you, or platitudes, if you like, can actually do a bit more harm than good, in the way that the person who's in pain doesn't feel heard, doesn't feel understood, and it can be quite isolating. As you go along, you start to feel more and more that, well, I'll try not to say anything to anyone, and you internalize it. And when it comes to mental or emotional pain or things, you have to get it out. And journaling has always been considered to be very helpful, but also talking about it. And if you have the means to go and see a counsellor, I would highly recommend that. Having worked in counselling for a few years, the main thing I would say is find a counsellor that you get along with. And by that I don't mean someone that just sits there and agrees with everything he says, because that's not going to be helpful in the long run, but someone that you think understands you and gets where you're coming from. So anyway, some of the things that you might hear from friends or family, well wishers if you like, uh, just get over it, you know, and you know, if I could, do you think I wouldn't? Do you think I like being like this? If I could just get over it, I surely would. And if anybody can come up with a pill to take, and that I can take that pill and wake up the next morning and be over it, then please let me know straight away. Something else, just forget about them. And that's never going to happen. And if you're wondering if your ex-partner is going to forget about you, it's physically impossible. Anybody that you've had any sort of a substantial relationship with, you'll never forget that person, and they won't forget you. Doesn't mean that they're going to want to come back. They might even miss you, and that doesn't mean they're going to come back. Getting back together is not really what my channel is geared towards. I'm not trying to sell any, get your ex back programs or things like like that, and we'll talk a bit more about that in another video. But I've started this channel to hopefully, for people who are hurting and healing from breakup, to have somewhere where you can come and relate to that journey and that transition away from what's probably been a heavy loss. It's certainly been a heavy loss for me. I got this one just the other day. You have to snap out of it. Well, again, yes, I do need to just snap out of it, but if I could just snap out of it, then of course I would, wouldn't I? And the other problem with that too is that when you're healing, you want to heal properly. You don't want to go trying to suppress your feelings. You have to feel it to heal it, and you have to sit with it and accept that you've been hurt, and accept that you're in pain, and accept that you're going to heal. You've got to heal from that. Just snap out of it. A lot of people use coping mechanisms, probably more men than women, because men are expected to be stoic and not show their emotions, especially if you're working somewhere like a construction site, or in the trucking industry or something. But even if you work in a bank or an office, it's not really accepted that men can cry and men can be emotional and that sort of thing. So they suppress and they internalize, and that's not going to be good for the long term. You need to go through it and heal it properly, however long that takes. I've seen some people come out of a relationship and be pretty fine within 3 to 4 weeks. I've seen some people come out of a 3 to 4 month relationship and still be hurting 6 months later. So, the grieving process suddenly is taking longer than the actual relationship itself. And that's because it goes, we'll talk about that sort of thing in another video, but it goes beyond the length of the relationship. The pain that you're feeling and the process that you're going through taps into things that have been with you your whole life. So it's not really about the length of the relationship. It's about the connection that you had with that person, how they made you feel, rejection, and that sort of thing. And I've also seen some people, come out of a relationship and still be quite upset a year or more later, 2 years later. Don't let that scare you. It doesn't have to be that way, but I have seen it. And obviously there's things you can do to help and hinder that process. I might do another video in a bit more detail about that, but obviously things like overworking, throwing yourself into work, getting straight into another relationship, drinking alcohol, drugs, obviously, shopping, eating, all sorts of coping mechanisms that will probably hinder the healing process. Maybe not in the short term, but in the longer term, you only need something to happen down the track to trigger it, and it'll just come out again, you know. And of course, there's always the the old favourite. There's plenty of fish in the sea. And again, whilst that might be true, there are many, many people, on this planet. Uh, you basically you can't be, you can't put yourself, you can't say, well, there's 3 billion women on the planet. That gives me a 1 in 3 billion chance, because, you know, they're not. You need to find someone within a certain age group, someone that has the same value system as yourself. Just many, many things that limit your options. And I know at the moment there are a lot of other people in the world, but you're probably still attached to the person that you've just been with for whatever length of time. And that's the person that you want to be with, and hopefully will be with again one day. But the healing process needs to happen first, and before you even try again, you need to heal up a bit. Otherwise, no real changes are going to happen, and you'll probably end up breaking up again soon anyway. And also, you even worse, you could get into one of these on-off relationships that can go on and on and on and on, and that's not good for your health, really, in a lot of ways. Um, so, so for the person that's uh, hurting or in pain, if you're hearing these sayings and platitudes from friends and family, just know that they mean well. They don't like to see you hurting, but they also just don't know what to do and they don't know what to say. If you're not hurting and you have a friend or relative that is in pain and you find yourself saying these things, just be aware that it can actually be a bit more harmful than helpful because the person doesn't feel heard, they don't feel understood, and it can be quite isolating to the point where they don't feel they can actually talk to anyone about it, and that can actually become really, really quite dangerous. Uh, in fact, one thing I do recommend is if you have at least one or two people in your life that you can ask them specifically um, to help you through this, um, and say, look, I really need you to be there for me. It might take a while. Can you do that? Are you able to do that? And I'm extremely lucky. I've got some amazing friends who have rallied around me and are checking in on me constantly. They're worried about me. It's hard. It's difficult when it gets to the level that it's affected me. It really takes a toll on your health and your life and your job and your friendships, everything. So try to find at least one, if not two, people that you can ask them directly, can you be my breakup wing, if you like. One other thing I'll leave you with now, which I found really helpful, is this breakup recovery guide. It's breakuprecoveryguide.com. It's really, really well written, and it helps to help you understand what you're going through and some of the steps you can take to help yourself get through this the best you can. All right, so I hope that helps. I'll be back with another video soon. I'm going to keep putting these videos up to hopefully help you. It helps me, and so let's do this together. Stay strong, ever forward.